No ID is meant for a sane audience. No ID may contain liberty-oriented content. Pinko discretion is advised. Now, here's No ID with Paul Banducci and Scott Moskowitz.
Hey, welcome back to No ID, North Idaho's mainstream media deconstruction. I'm Scott.
Hello, Internet. I'm Paul. Welcome back.
The world feels different now somehow, given that we just came off of the most important primary of our lifetimes.
Yeah, it does. It's even more retarded than it was a week ago.
Seemed impossible.
It did, didn't it? But you and I should know better at this point. Every time we think that the spectrum can't get any wider and we've run out of tisms to identify, we find more.
And there'll be more.
I can't wait. What do you got for us?
There'll be more of the next most important primaries of your lifetime will be coming up for the next go around. In the meantime, let's do some mainstream coverage of what took place in these primaries, as the episode we recorded last week was recorded just ahead of the primaries. And then by the time people were listening to it, like, a lot of the results were in. So hopefully it was still relevant and entertaining. But let's start with NPR here on episode number 30 of your No ID show. Idaho's NPR and their very interestingly different coverage than you're used to hearing when we play NPR clips on the show, or really actually any of the mainstream sources. Yes, because normally we're when we present clips, we're presenting people reading from teleprompters or scripts. These talking heads are not really doing stream of consciousness type shows like we are right now. They are reading from a script or a teleprompter. In this case, after the primary results started coming in, there was a lot more of the same newsreader hosts doing stream of consciousness because, Phil McGrain, the Secretary of State, is sitting in, or they've got Boise State University poli-sci professors sitting in with them to discuss the primary results. It's very interesting to hear.
Oh, all the experts. Yeah.
Oh, you'll hear the word expert dropped many, many times. All the buzzwords remain the same, but the delivery is not the same because these talking heads are not used to, I don't think they're used to this type of format, and so you're going to hear a lot more uhs and ums and stammering and just otherwise struggling to get their thoughts out because they don't have a teleprompter feeding them every single word. So let's start with NPR.
Oh, goody.
Time to talk primary election on this Wednesday morning. We have results to discuss with our own James Dawson and Boise State Professor of Political Science, Jacqueline Kettler. Thanks to you both for being here this morning.
Good morning.
Good to be here, Troy.
Good morning.
Professor, let's start with you. And I just want you to set the stage. What can primary elections tell us about a local electorate?
Set the stage, Professor.
Yeah, the primary election is really important for the parties to select their nominees for the general election. And that's going to tell us a lot about the direction of the parties, what their supporters want to see in terms of candidates' ideology, policy priorities, style, all these types of things. And in Idaho, where many races are not very competitive in the general election, the primary election results are quite important for what the state's going to look like moving forward.
We did not see a lot of surprises at for statewide races. Certainly the congressional delegation.
The establishment won.
Largely.
That are up for election this year have cruised through the primary. Governor Brad Little cruised through his primary campaign, but there are big changes coming to especially the far right wing in the State House. Jimmy, take us through some of what those changes are.
Yeah, so if listeners have heard of the so-called Gang of Eight, this group of more far-right lawmakers at the State House. That is now the Gang of Three, seemingly, according to these unofficial results. So you had Senators Glenita Zeiderveld was one of the more outspoken of the eight, and of the five who did not win re-election during their nominating contests. She sat on JFAC. She routinely argued against spending increases. Also a whole lot of social conservative issues she was very much supportive of. She's out. You have, Senator Josh Cole, you have Representative David Leavitt, you have all of these people who had just served one term in the Idaho House or Senate.
That's right. That first election is always the riskiest. But also, it's really fascinating to see this continued turnover in the Magic Valley area, right, Jimmy?
Yeah,
I'm sure it is.
It's the second, contest in a row. This one was largely about, I would say immigration. Immigration was huge.
Yeah, King Ag. It was about King Ag. That's what it was about, Scott. King Ag flexed its kingly muscles and really put its thumb on the scale for the primaries this year.
You'll notice, too, they once again dropped the word illegal. It was about immigration.
Of course. Just immigrants. Yeah.
Immigrants.
Yeah. Very fascinating. Very fascinating, they say breathlessly. They're stoked about this, by the way. Everybody in the studio is super stoked to see the Gang of Eight go down.
Oh, yes, they are. So I have a full clip on the Gang of Eight. There's a little bit more on this with Professor Jacqueline Kettler from Boise State. I wanted you to hear, well, it's a speech thing, but I find it endlessly entertaining from a college professor.
I do want to get into some of the ballot issues because we did see voters largely supportive of short-term school funding issues, the supplemental levies that only require a simple majority to pass. Those were largely successful. Longer-term levies and bond issues and funding issues for emergency services in many places were not as successful yesterday. And the turnout levels, and you heard some of this maybe if you were listening in our first newscast at 6 o'clock this morning, the turnout was not quite what was expected maybe, especially in Ada County where the prediction was between 40 and 50%, and we ended up sub 30%. And, those types of issues, there weren't these ballot issues on the ballot in Ada County, but turnout, I think, generally lower across the state than maybe what was expected.
Which is also why conservatives did poorly. Typically, the better turnout is the better conservatives, like actual real conservatives, do across Idaho, because conservatives tend to vote in person, and moderates and establishmentarians and Democrats tend to do the mail-in ballots, the absentee ballots, and they also mobilize very, very well in off-election cycles. They have a smaller base, but they have a much more rabid base that mobilizes across elections. So that's why in 2024, conservatives swept through Idaho and did very well in the primaries because 2024 was a main election cycle. Off election cycles, historically speaking, conservatives don't do as well in Idaho. Also, I think it has to do with most people who tend to lean, again, more conservative, tend to be working people. They have jobs, they have lives, they have families, and they hold the elections on a Tuesday, which is also intentional. There's a reason why elections are held when they're held, at the times and the days and the dates that they are held, and it is to make sure that the biggest actual base, which is working families, can't vote. So basically it means if you're old and retired, so boomers get the vote because they're old and retired, and bureaucrats get the vote because all the polling places are pretty much where government employees work.
Just in case you were you weren't sure if Paul was a family man, his kid screamed in the background just in time. Just perfect timing.
My 1-year-old, yeah, very timely. He's a little He's very expressive. Sorry about that. It's lunchtime, I think. Hopefully followed by nap time, right?
So the 2024 cycle winners were a lot of the incumbents that were unseated by the more establishment types in this primary.
Correct.
I think that's what surprised people the most. But here's the end of this clip with Professor Kettler and her speech pattern that I find endlessly amusing.
Yeah, I think primary elections are often tough to get people aware of what's going on, motivate them to turn out, especially if there's not a competitive race, like a competitive legislative race in their district. And without more contested primary races at the statewide level, I think there was probably less awareness or interest in the primary election. And then that
I'm not sure where she's coming from there, because I think almost every damn primary in the state had at least 2 candidates, except for state level stuff. At the state level stuff was the worst. Nobody ran against Phil McCrane. Nobody ran against Sarah, or I don't know, the Secretary of Education. Nobody ran against Scott Bedke for lieutenant governor. Nobody ran against any of the top 5 or 6 positions. Nobody ran against Raul Labrador for AG, Attorney General. Critchfield, Debbie Critchfield.
Yeah, Debbie Critchfield.
Nobody ran against her. So nobody ran against any of them. I mean, the only one that had somebody running against somebody else at the state level was governor. And then I guess for the national representatives, for Jim Risch and Crapo and blah, 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 and all those guys, yeah, there were runners against the incumbents, but the incumbents just crushed everybody across the board. It was ridiculous. And a lot of that's the way the districts are drawn up, sidebar, I guess, or rabbit trail or side quest, whatever you want to call it. The more you know, right? So you know that there's only 2 districts in Idaho, legislative districts, at the to send congressmen to DC. There's only 2 districts. We get 2 representatives for the House. We get 2 senators for the Senate. And the districts are drawn north to south. It's totally retarded, and it was done on purpose. It was done to make sure that South Idaho still maintains control for both districts. If Idaho was drawn the way it should be drawn, which was east to west, probably ending somewhere like Lewiston or south of Lewiston, and then everything north is District 1 and everything south is District 2, the makeup we'd actually have probably 2 very conservative legislators going to DC, a very conservative rep and a very conservative senator. But instead, we have moderates and establishmentarians across the board, because South Idaho gets a say in North Idaho. Yay, gerrymandering.
Election. And then that can be difficult for some of these measures, especially if you need to get
Did you catch that?
Difficult for some of these measures, especially.
She did it twice in this clip, and I just find it amusing.
It's going to go very well with my espresso.
Yeah, and I might go drink that in the library.
And then that can be difficult.
Is that the one where you can sit and drink your espresso, read a book, and look out at the mountains?
The mountains.
We live up kind of in the mountains.
And then that can be difficult for some of these measures, especially if you need to get 55 or 60% of the vote, which is already kind of tough to get. Then it could be especially hard with a lower turnout election.
It's a professor. This woman's a college professor. Okay.
That's just probably why she got hired. She has a lisp. She can't speak very well, and she's female. So she checked enough diversity boxes at Boise State. They just went, yeah, you're in. Are you qualified? No, but that's all right. You check all the other boxes.
That's Professor of Political Science Jacqueline Kettler. Thanks as well to James Dawson for joining us on the pod this morning. And thanks to our interns, Jackson Holmes and Jamie Geary, for their work on election night as well.
Okay. So now here...
What? That was what they brought that's what they had to contribute, huh?
Of many. So let's move along here to... Well, let's see. I've got Brad Little, who cruised to victory, unsurprisingly, over Mark Fitzpatrick. Here he was. Yeah,
well, when you run a campaign on perverting Idaho values, you're going to win in Boise.
To pervert.
Here is the various talking heads at his watch party, shoving mics in his face after the results came in.
But as he says hello to everyone, here he is now. Hi, how you doing, Governor Little? Well, congratulations. AP is reporting that you have won this primary election.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Are we reporting that to you first here?
Oh, what a dick.
Such a dick.
God.
Yeah, I know, man. I know I'm king.
Honestly.
Other than
he doesn't even pretend to be humble.
Primary election.
I'm shocked.
Are we reporting that to you first here?
You got to soundbite that.
Oh, I'm way ahead.
That's a soundbite.
Oh, yeah.
Heard a clue of it earlier.
I've already told you. So, this is your third primary election, and for this
I'm shocked.
Office, how do you feel coming out of it?
Great. And like I said,
good question.
We've come so far.
It's good to be king.
We've got all these growth
ag.
challenges that Idahoans expect us to address. And there's a lot of things we can do there. We'll continue to what we do.
Like tax
we're
them.
doing for education. Continue what we're doing on.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Education.
We'll continue to what we
Community,
do.
community. Education,
What
education,
we do,
education.
We're doing for
The
education.
kids.
Continue
The
what we're
kids.
doing
Kids.
on being the least regulated state with the most tax relief per capita. Continue what we do to preserve public safety. Idaho's one of the safest states. That's what make us what we are, but those efforts have to continue. They have to continue with a very robust.
Tell me you've never owned a business without telling me you've never owned a business when you tell me that Idaho is a low-regulated state.
The least regulated state.
Just try. Well, you know what? That's also probably not true. It might be close, but then again, we're talking about how much piss is in your glass. Everybody else has 90% piss. We only have 88% piss. We have the least amount of piss. Well, I guess you're right.
Well, there's I don't want to go all the way down to the 11th circle, 4th pit. We're only the 2nd circle.
It's not as hot up here.
Effort to expand all those opportunities so that our kids will want to choose to stay here.
And, this is a party celebrating many incumbent candidates. And
Kids.
as you look to the future with so much growth in a state like Idaho, how do you, take what you've learned in office with so many years of experience into the future?
I'll tell you what he's learned. You want to know what he's learned, Scott? This could be an Ask Paul. But you don't have to dial it up. I'll tell you what he learned. What he learned is King Ag. King Ag. That's what he learned. That's what everybody learned here today is up in North Idaho. Everybody learned that North Idaho Republicans has the biggest war chest in the 4-county area, which we already knew, but man, they flexed it hard. And we'll talk about North Idaho soon enough here, I hope. And in South Idaho, King Ag. It's big business in general, whether it's Orgill, whether it's Chobani yogurt, whether it's whoever the fuck, big business wins. And if you piss them off, you're going to lose your primaries. That's what we learned today.
We're your king.
Future.
Tuesday.
Well, every day for me is a great opportunity to do one better the next day. Sometimes you'll have a few setbacks, but if you don't build on what you've done before, whether it's in any one of those areas, safety, education, business opportunity, you're not doing your job. You got to take on what we built, but you also got to go out and get all over the state because Idaho is an incredibly diverse state. From one end,
you got to get all over the state
other.
and watch everybody pee.
Nah.
Make sure they're in the right bathroom.
I've seen people in every way, shape, or form all over the world going to the bathroom.
That's Guthrie, who also is he's going to be sticking around behind the two-way mirror for now.
No, that was Handy. Wasn't that Handy?
Oh, Handy. Oh, you're right. Why do I keep confusing those two? You're right.
Good old Handy.
How could I forget that it's
Handy keeps the candy handy. Maybe I think old Handy and oh my gosh, there you go. That's the ticket. 2028, little Handy. Traveling around the state, checking out everybody's diversity.
Ironically, in a van that is white.
Incredibly diverse state. From one end of the state to the other. I love all the opportunities I have to go out all around Idaho, have those conversations, hear people's concerns.
And put my boot on their necks.
It adds a lot of fuel to my fire.
You like that? Which one of the 189 Idaho agencies do you want to deal with today? Do you like that? Take that. Yeah, you get 2. Just because I'm in a good mood. 2 agencies today. Get fucked.
Is there somebody that's employed full time as one of little staffers that operates one of those Men in Black flashbang memory erasers where they are able
gotta
to
be
so then just Idaho won't remember what you did to private businesses, Governor Little.
If Mark Fitzpatrick had a better, not advertiser, but like marketing person in his campaign, the supercuts, dude, the supercut you could have put together of the stuff that Little has said the last couple of years about how awesome he is, and then just supercut it against 2020 stuff.
Yeah,
just run it. all day long.
I didn't see his campaign do that in any official capacity. I did see some of that in the independent media that is maybe largely preaching to the choir where, you just show photos of him in the masks at the podium, show photos of his, like a screenshot from the April 2020 where he's given the stay-at-home order. Like I did see that, but not in any official capacity from somebody like Fitzpatrick. Why not?
It's wild, man, because if you mention this to anybody who's drinking the Kool-Aid, you just inconceivable. It's like talking to that guy. It's like that never happened.
So they just got hit
that never
with the
happened.
flash
It was just
thing,
6 years ago.
It's mostly that I get the feeling that to the extent that they think about it, it's just like, oh well, there was a pandemic. Don't you watch the news? Like it made sense. They've landed on the conclusion. Because it's like really embarrassing to consider another conclusion that like, okay, what happened made sense. And then you reverse logic out from that conclusion to make what happened make sense.
Yeah.
I guess.
Mental gymnastics required, not included, but required. Oh, by the way, I think I've got our show art and maybe our show title. I don't know. I don't want to jump the gun.
Wow.
But
at this early
a campaign sign. Yeah, no, little, handy, 2028, and it has and both left, they got to be left hands, but left hand prints, a big one and a little one. But it's like a campaign sign, little handy 2028, bam, bam, 2 handprints.
Okay, that is written down.
Bigger,
I like it.
Smaller. The Kootenai County Precinct Committee should have hired me as their marketing guy, and I actually have had a conversation sort of to that effect. It was like, for 2028, you guys lose one more seat and it's all over but the crying for probably the next 20 years. So you got to have somebody doing something. And I think Paul Banducci's Dank Meme Emporium proved my worth. You hear me? Kootenai County Precinct Committee? You dummies? Hello? Ugh.
Here's a little bit more of, and I only have this because it's our boy John Webb was also there in all his...
yes, I was going to ask.
In all his perfect hairdo glory, with a mic in Governor Little's
so
face.
excited.
And
he definitely won the primaries. John Webb won the primaries all on his own. Nobody voted for him, but his hair won the primaries. Yeah. I'd vote for that.
Yeah. You talk about some of those challenges. I think the number one thing for Idahoans right now is just the cost of living.
The number one thing.
My haircuts
is that your hair, John? Or is that a huge growth?
My haircuts are costing over $200 a pop. That does not include tip.
Right now is just the cost of living, between the cost of rent, cost of housing, cost of grocery
and the cost
taxes.
of my haircuts.
Rent and housing, which is this 2 in a row, the same thing.
Cost of rent, cost of housing, cost of grocery
cost
taxes.
Of children.
I know we've been
children.
What? Children.
Cost of grocery taxes. I know we've been trying to repeal that for years now. But what do you do if you win in November to try and lower the cost of living for Idaho?
Well,
that's interesting. I'm sorry. I know. I'm making this tough for you here, but
it's okay. Every week.
He brought up the grocery sales tax. Dude, like, that's been dead on arrival for the last couple of sessions, but we made some really huge pushes on that and even passed it once, and it got vetoed.
By who?
Little's had nothing but opportunity
to
Otter. It was Otter on his last session on his way out. And then Little promised to address it and do something about it. And wouldn't you know it? Guess what's happened? Nothing.
And also to the irony, of course, to the extent that these things have spiraled out of control cost-wise, like rent, housing, and grocery taxes.
And children.
All of that is the fault of the guy who's about to have the microphone waved in his face. And not him as an individual. He's irrelevant and interchangeable.
No,
the apparatus that he represents, exactly.
To try and lower the cost of living for Idaho.
Well, housing... and I say this often, we're victims of our own success. Mm-hmm. We go out and build some more houses. We put in sewer, we put in water, we put in roads. People come in and from out of state and buy those houses. We're literally victims of our own success. I don't want to stop that success, but it means we need to accelerate what we're doing in capacity for houses, which is water, sewer, roads, and a workforce to build those houses. So we are suffering the ravages of everybody wants to move to Idaho.
Mm-hmm. What did he just say? Can you provide a
great
real-time
answer.
Paul translation?
Yes. That was a great answer. So when we talk to Democrats and Republicans about the housing issue, when we say we need to build more houses, it's a supply and demand issue coupled with a monetary policy issue that the Federal Reserve has done to us, and that you get, voting to spend more money has done to us. But first and foremost, the easiest thing we can do between those two is add to supply by easing zoning restrictions and getting those out of the way and making NIMBYs, people who are not in my backyard, NIMBYs, turn them into YIMBYs, yes, in my backyard, and understand that zoning reform is one of the best places to start at the local level and at the state level. But you talk to Democrats about this and we say, we need to build more houses. And they go, well, building more houses, adding to the supply won't bring costs down because they don't understand economics. Republicans go, yes, it will, but we don't want that. Because all of the boomers' wealth is tied up in their houses. So in real time, Governor Otter's like, it's our own success that's killing us. And we got to change what we're doing. But I don't want to change what we're doing because it's so successful that it's killing us.
They're being ravaged by their success.
We are ravaged by our own success. So we got to change what we're doing. But I'm not going to change it because it's so successful.
We are suffering the ravages of everybody who wants to move to Idaho.
Suffering the ravages.
Right.
This is, I have to keep reiterating, I don't know what percentage I speak on behalf of the political refugee set, but I moved here despite people like Little and the Idaho government, not because of it. You're victims of your own success because of the people of Idaho, which is to a greater degree and concentration than most other places, they were a little bit more liberty-minded as a concentrated set. And so therefore it made Little and his state's attempt to squash liberty, it was a less successful attempt on account of the people.
Correct. Absolutely correct. And that happens, that's not just an Idaho thing. Texas is a good example of this, where you have blue islands, they're always blue urban islands in Texas that treat everybody else in the state like shit. And, we hate Republicans, we hate conservatives, we hate Texas for these reasons. But the reason why a city like Austin is so successful, or Dallas is so successful while being deep blue, is because the overarching environment of the entire state of Texas is still very conservative and business friendly and economically free, again, relative to other states, especially like California. So people still go there because there's still enough opportunity and freedom to pursue that opportunity, because of the politics of Texas overall, because of the people, the conservative people of Texas. Idaho's the same way. Boise is a drag on Idaho. If we didn't have to deal with Boise, state would be great. Like here, you get rid of Coeur d'Alene, Moscow, Boise, and Sandpoint and Sun Valley, and the state's like, then we are the least regulated state in the union, probably by a wide margin.
All 350 people left in the state would be somewhat free.
Now you're speaking my language. Ooh, don't start talking dirty to me mid-podcast. All right.
Well, I won't tell Handy. Here is the Gang of 8 clip, as promised.
Well, the fallout from Tuesday night's primary election continues. Members of a far right group of legislators took quite the beating. The self-described Gang of 8 included Senator.
Right. That's, again, weekly no ID reminder that anytime a label is applied to anyone to the right of Mao by the mainstream media, it is far right, conservative, KKK. But when the candidate is a left-wing commie pinko, there is no label applied. It's just, what did they say?
Members, a group of legislators.
It would just be members of another group of legislators. They would just omit the label. And if you wanted to report
just regular people like you and me.
Yeah, there's normies. There's just normal people. They're not far anything. They're just normal. You could just say a group of legislators and then let the viewer draw their own conclusions. But why do that when you can program them with your baloney propaganda?
Right group of legislators took quite the beating. The self-described Gang of 8 included Senators Christy Zitto, Glenida Zeiderveld, and you have Josh Cole, Representatives Lucas Kaler, Faye Thompson, David Levitt, Clint Hotstetler, and Kent Marmon. We say included in the past tense because the Gang of 8 is history. 5 of them lost their primary elections on Tuesday, one of them by 20 points. So the Gang of 8 now down to 3. Is this part of a shift in voters? Do they want more traditional conservatives? Justin Core sat down with our political expert, Dr. Stephanie Witt, to find out.
Here's another university professor.
Traditional meaning establishmentarian. Like, do we want? Yeah. Ugh.
It looks like we saw voters looking for a little different channel to listen to about what's coming out of the legislature. You can also take this as a sign of great health in the Republican Party, in the sense that there's a lot of choices to be made, really different approaches to policy, really different approaches to the Republican platform even. And so we did see.
We're going back to business as usual. It's healthy. Trust us.
That is the BSU Master of Public Administration. She's a public administration professor, Stephanie Witt, who is speaking. And that's why she's using language as soft as she is, because the establishmentarians are back.
And so we did see what looked like a really bad night.
Oh, and it's wonderful for the Republican Party. It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful to see.
And so we did see what looked like a really bad night for the further right wing of the Republican Party, though.
Speaking of that, do you think that shows a shift in ideology for voters and what they have an appetite for, to more traditional conservatism?
It could mean that.
Golly,
yes.
dude.
And quite possibly.
They've just commandeered all of our words.
Traditional conservatism.
It could mean that, yes, and quite possibly education and healthcare for the poor, maybe education, K through 12 education, and higher education taking a hit might have resonated with voters, and they wanted maybe a little more of the traditional conservative approach, as opposed to the all-out attack on those institutions that we see from the further right wing of the party. So.
You had two major voting blocks that are already politically active to begin with that were really, really moved to action this cycle. And that was the IEA, the Idaho Education Association, otherwise known as the Teachers Union, which has a ton of money, power, and clout. Yep, those guys. And you had King Ag. And both of those came together in huge sections of South Idaho and just laid waste. But in an election cycle that was, underwhelming as far as participation goes, so they had an outsized influence. It's a combination of hot button topics that moved that base to participate more than they usually do, and they already participate quite a bit, and an off cycle election that meant the main regular actual conservative base didn't turn out the way that they do in an on election cycle for national elections. So it was those two things coming together. And the establishment always makes hay during those cycles. They just do. It's been that way for 20 years, at least that I've been checking.
For context, Sir Ducifer, that was the grand poobah of the National Teachers Union, Becky Pringle.
Say the words! Say them!
Slinging the Kool-Aid.
All-out attack on those institutions that we see from the further right wing of the party.
There it is, by the way, again.
An attack.
That all-out attack. We're bashing them into the ground. We're destroying
our institutions.
All-out attack because some of the population is tired of being raked over the financial coals and wanted to maybe see what they could do with only 98% of their budget rather than 127%. And that means it's an all-out attack, and we're bashing them into the ground, and we're attempting to eradicate government.
All-out attack.
How do we identify something as a cult, Scott? Anything against them is considered an attack on our institutions. Statism is a cult.
To the all-out attack on those institutions that we see from the further right wing of the party. So it could be they were looking for those. I don't have a sense of whether the more moderate candidates really just out-campaigned the others, if it's a measure of effort or quality of campaigning.
No, I'll tell you what it was a measure of. Money!
All right, a little bit more on this Gang of 8 clip.
We talked about this really since the late 90s. There's been actually 3 parties in the state of Idaho. We saw that on display again Tuesday night, but they haven't always I guess, admitted to it, copped to it. It's always been Democrats, traditional Republicans, and then your more far-right Republicans, but they all at least used to go to the same watch party. They all at least used to have a news conference out on the front steps of the Capitol that Wednesday morning following the primary, saying, hey, we're all on the same team, you know, let's all go do this together. Now you have the top Republican in the state, Governor Brad Little, having his own watch party and inviting only who he wants, seemingly particularly to separate himself from some of the more far-right candidates. Am I getting that wrong, or is that what you're saying?
It's got to be, of course, that the splinter is that it's the far-right's fault. It's not the fact that, quote-unquote, tradition, as they're using the term, traditional Republicans actually moved so far leftward in the last 20 years that they actually look like the Democrats from 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Like, if you go back and watch Bill Clinton, watch his speeches, watch his stuff, look at some of his policies that he pushed hard.
Who's that? Sorry, you broke up a
little bit.
little bit.
He would be considered a knuckle-dragging conservative today.
Who's that? I tell you, there was a little garbledness. Who would be?
Bill Clinton.
Clinton. Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, you could. Yeah. Him and Hillary giving speeches in the 90s about like illegal immigration and financial government spending.
Go back 30 years. That's
the Overton window has shifted so far to the left as to be unrecognizable.
Yep. It's so disingenuous, man. So it has moved so far left that what they're using as traditional conservatives for the state of Idaho, those people are Democrats, and they're the Democrats of just 20 years ago.
Yep.
The people who are now considered far right are the Republicans of just 10, 20 years ago.
Yes, but they're such a disruptive
regular Republicans.
They're such a disruptive and destructive force that poor Governor Little, who's just a traditional Republican, has to have his own watch party to keep the far-right KKKers at bay.
Some of the more far-right candidates. Am I getting that wrong, or is that what you're saying, that they're making it very clear that there are three parties in the state?
Well, I don't know what was in the governor's mind when he arranged his party. Okay, but you're right. They used to have all Republicans on the same page event the day after. We did not see that this time.
So they're so wistful for the days when team government was all just one big blob, instead of now being one big blob with a tiny little blob that's attempting to make inroads. Remember those days?
Yeah, but that tiny little blob is super far right. It can't be allowed.
The day after. We did not see that this time. I'm not sure I remember when it last happened. But that does probably reflect some healthy division within the party, and it also probably
the Democrats love it. They call it healthy division because they can exploit it.
It also probably indicates that more campaigns are relying less on the party machinery to run their campaigns, that they're hiring their own consultants, their own media people, their own, direct mail and social media stuff. So you don't have to go to the party's party. You can have your own a little more because you're running your own show more.
Okay, there's one last part of the Gang of Eight clip.
Speaking of running your own show, I also talked to Dr. Witt and asked her about the performance of Mark Fitzpatrick, the big challenger to the incumbent governor, Brad Little. In a crowded Republican primary, Fitzpatrick secured almost 29% of the statewide vote, 68,500 votes, which says it's pretty good, but he also spent $150,000 on his campaign at last check. That's about $2.19 a vote. It's kind of expensive for an Idaho primary, not so much other places. Regardless, he really could not compete with Governor Little, who still beat him soundly, getting 59% of the vote. Little has had more than $2 million in contributions to his campaign. Must be nice. Still has about $1.2 million on hand to spend.
So he spent $800,000.
Is that what they said?
Little has had more than $2 million in contributions to his campaign. Must be nice. Still has about $1.2 million.
Yeah. Okay. So so then we extrapolate that he spent $800K, and Fitzpatrick spent $150.
The Fitzpatrick's $150.
Which, by the way, I think $145 of that was on his Tesla Cybertruck that he was using as his campaign vehicle. Did you see that he had a wrapped Cybertruck? Which I don't know. That's like the most ideal look.
Yeah. Well, he roughly got napkin math here. Fitzpatrick got 60 some odd thousand votes. That was about 1/3. That means a total of about 180,000 votes, give or take. I'm napkin mathing it here, but that means, again, roughly we'll say 120 for Governor Little, to the tune of, again, roughly $800,000. Let's try this. 800,000 divided by 120,000 is $6.66. Hey, what do you know? $6.66 per vote. So he spent 3 times as much per vote as Fitzpatrick, but you don't see them penciling that out on the podcast, do you? Nope. Just talking about Fitzpatrick spending about $2 and change. Isn't that interesting?
There's also the part where Little is on the record in 2018 as saying he would only
as the incumbent, by the way.
Yeah, and as the incumbent, that he was only ever going to serve 2 terms. And I think
that's
where
funny.
There's a clip of him somewhere. I think I have it here. We'll get to it, where he explains why he's going back on his declaration that he was only going to serve 2 terms. And of course, it's for us,
because you can't let the far right win.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, because
we have no choice.
Just like the North Idaho Republicans said in every obnoxious, vomit-inducing post they made on Facebook, quote, "Our freedoms are under attack by extremists."
Mm-hmm.
But it's you. You're the ones who legislate my freedoms away.
Hold on. Where's that flashbang memory eraser?
You know, I covered GOP the election cycle I first got here back to Idaho. And I remember, it was still all together. So that was kind of interesting to see this election cycle. Is this something that Dr. Witt really anticipated happening? Did we expect that?
I think not necessarily to this point to be as overt about it. Also, she was very surprised that we saw, the 5 of this gang of 8 getting defeated as incumbents, but overall 9 Republican incumbents losing again in their own primary after winning election a couple years ago in their own Republican primary, losing as the incumbent. That's different. And again, signals some sort of shift in the voting base. We're not
really
sure
enjoying
exactly
themselves.
how much or where, but
It'll be interesting to watch, though.
It will be interesting to watch now. I guess that the Republicans are going to sail through in the general election. Super interesting to watch, I guess. They're really enjoying themselves here. Money. That's what did it, y'all. That's what did it.
Before we take our mid-show breather, here's a little brief moment of levity, and it has nothing to do with elections. But I wonder if you'll pick up what's notable about this.
Well, today we are less than an hour away, now about 30 minutes away from the start of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. 2 middle schoolers from the Coeur d'Alene area are competing this year. So meet 13-year-old Harper Adams and 12-year-old Chase Miller from Kootenai Classical Academy. We are wishing them good luck. I'm sure they don't need it because they're super talented. There's another speller from Idaho, from the Boise area, and one from Western Washington. I can't wait to see what words they get, and I'm going to have to see if I could actually try and spell it. Spelling is hard in general for some, but I know like speaking it takes it to another level.
Right.
Because it's different when you get to see it, like typing it or handwriting it, but speaking it is hard.
Yeah.
Right.
Good luck.
Did you notice what was noteworthy about that?
I don't know. Help me out.
Private school.
Interesting. The thing that stuck out in my head the most was that I don't know if either of them are boys or girls.
Oh,
Harper and Chase.
Harper, yeah, totally. They did show their mugshots on the actual TV broadcast, so I saw. But yes, Harper and Chase could go either way.
That's what I noticed. Is that weird? That's weird. That's what stuck out to me.
And the judge of the spelling bee is Pat.
Is that the NCAACP judge?
He's Pat.
Oh.
Oh, man. This, whatever this is, this program, No ID, runs on the value for value model. This pod, No ID, does not have sponsors or advertisers and never will. That's because we have chosen to run on the value for value model. It is a completely different animal than the advertiser model. We don't get told what to say or what not to say by sponsors. We don't pause to read, to plug a random brand of something, and then have sponsor meetings where they tell you what you should say on your show. But then you have to, act very naturally and deliver it naturally. We don't want your audience to know that you are being worked like a puppet. You have to deliver it in a natural way. No, we don't do any of that. We just run on value for value.
Republican primaries brought to you by Pfizer. Yes,
Brought
primaries.
to you by
Remember,
Pfizer.
when Big Ag says how to vote, you vote the way King Ag says. Yes, King Ag.
Or else.
Or else.
Value
No
for
food.
value is a very simple model, and it works like this. We try to bring the value with every episode that we put out. Today is number 30, and that's relevant, and you'll see why momentarily.
Wow.
Every week, every Thursday, our show comes out, and there's no paywalls, and there's no subscriber-only content or anything of the sort. There's just the show, and we try to make the show a valuable product for you. If you find that to be true, if you find the show to be valuable, we ask that you contribute value back. And there are many different ways to do that, specifically time, talent, and treasure. Time and talent is greatly appreciated, and it looks like this. Boots on the ground reports, your area of expertise. Send us a note. Tell us something that we missed, something that only you know as an insider. Everyone's an expert in something. And if you contribute value back in that way, that is a big time and talent value return.
Mm-hmm.
Telling people about the show is huge time and talent value return, especially that one would be the time thing. Unless you're extremely eloquent and very skilled at getting people to do your bidding, in which case I would include that in the talent category. And that means sharing the show with your friends and enemies or complete strangers. Send them the link. Tell people about the show. That's how shows like this grow. And the treasure portion. Oh, and also, yes, anything else in the time and talent category, like sending in articles, sending in show art, sending in audio. All of this can be done.
Especially follow-ups. I love follow-up stuff on things we cover. And then a week or two later, somebody's like, oh, hey, by the way, this, that, and the other. It's like, oh, that's awesome.
We do love
like
that. If something triggers you or otherwise, tickles a funny bone of yours and you think, as you're hearing this, like, oh, I know about that, or I saw this thing about that. Don't let it go past. Pick up your phone and or your keyboard. Go to noidshow.com.
Fax machine, or carrier pigeon, or light that fire and send us smoke signals.
If you want to
for carrier pigeon,
reflect the sun off of a mirror from the top of an adjacent mountain, we can read Morse code that way.
Oh, yeah. Like the Lord of the Rings. If you light the top of a mountain on fire and then the next one and the next one, and I know that Gondor calls for aid when it reaches me in the Clark Fork Valley here, I'm all about it. Let's do it.
That seems like it'd be pretty time consuming, so that would be a big time value returned. So yeah,
huge.
We love all that at the time and talent at noidshow.com. And then the treasure portion of time, talent, treasure is also a huge value add. And that is any form of fiat currency or barter, which we haven't mentioned in a while, that also counts, like cigars or booze or ammunition or anything else that is inherently valuable or you think is valuable.
Yeah. Gold, silver, drinks, tobacco, favors.
If you contribute value, you are all producers of this show, by the way. You're not just listeners. You help us produce the show. And that's why a lot of the content you hear on this program, it comes from you, the producers. If you contribute with treasure, that makes you an executive producer of No ID. And if you would like to become an executive producer, please go to noidshow.com. And there are clickable buttons to kick back some treasure our way. And that is just whatever value means to you. That could mean, for some people, $10 is a lot, and that is greatly appreciated. And for some people, $10,000 is nothing, and anything in between. And we love numerology, and there's a couple interesting ones along those lines this week. We have 2 executive producers. Let's start with Chris Talbot, who sent 1846, and he says, "This is an Alexander Dumbass donation. I am seconding Paul's recommendation to read it." 1846 is the year it was published. He's referring to the Count of Monte Cristo, which came up on the last show. And Paul had mentioned that I should watch the movie with Jim Caviezel, and I don't think you were necessarily pushing the book as much, but that's maybe where I would go if I dove into that story.
At the very least, watch the movie. It's well worth your time. It's a well done film and a fine story. The book is quite heady at times and rather intense at times too, compared to the movie. Actually, the movie is a little bit lighter than the book is, so there can be some darker stuff in there. But 1846, man, life was real back then. So also worth your time, but definitely will take a little more time. It's a big book. But that's awesome. Way to go, Talbot, man. Thank you.
Chris Talbot, his note goes on. 1846 is the year it was published. I finished listening to it recently while driving alone through snow at 2 a.m., feeling increasingly convinced that revenge may actually be a form of architecture. Thank you for continuing to make something thoughtful in a world that increasingly feels assembled out of plastic.
I love that. Well, I mean, revenge, when served properly, is, you have to plot it out, and it must be well engineered, and it has to be built on the proper foundations. And sometimes you need help with the schematics.
There you go. So Paul clearly understood the comparison. I did not, but now I do. Thank you, Chris, very much for the interesting donation. That would be a great example of numerology and what value means
of that
to you. And this week's other executive producer is Anonymous, and Anonymous sent $30. And the note just says, it's 3 words, this note, and it says show number donation. And today is episode 30, and that's a $30 donation. So that is the sort of stuff that we love. There are a bunch of different options on the website, noidshow.com. You can go see some of the some of the classic amounts that have been donated over the 8 or so months we've been rocking this program, or like I said, whatever it means to you.
NoIDShow.com, NoIDShow.com.
With that said, I think it's time for second half of show.
Okay. Well, gotta do a little break first.
Yep.
Gotta put more liquid in my mug and then get rid of some liquid. So what song? I got it narrowed down to 3. It's tough. I think I'm going to go with this one right here.
Is this that, is it John, I forget the name of the composer who did, I think it's called 346 or 347, or it's just silent for that long? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the guy who actually spent half his life investigating silence, pure silence, and even went into spent time in a room that they'd engineered where there couldn't be any sound at all, and then also put on a performance, if you can call it that, where he stepped out onto stage, sat in front of his piano, and did nothing.
Okay, here it is.
It was 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something?
It's close.
And then got up and walked off stage.
It's called 433. And it's by composer John Cage. It's 4 minutes and 33 seconds of silence. It's from 1952. It says written in 1952. What was written? The performer
What was written?
The performer intentionally does not play any notes. The music, quote unquote, is whatever ambient sounds occur during the performance, audience noise, room hum, etc. Cage was challenging.
I want to know how much they charge for the sheet music.
Cage was challenging the definition of music. Oh, what a progressive! And so
brave.
That's not what you were doing, though.
No, that's not what I was doing at all. Because I believe in actual like our model, value for value. I believe in value. No, not going to do that to you guys.
I'm going to go join Handy in the little boy's room while you play 4 minutes and 33 seconds.
Hell yeah.
closer now. All my cards are down. I can feel the pressure. Keep myself together. Pushing through the pain while I'm in it. 'Cause I came here to win it. I'm praying, hoping I don't break when I can see the lights at the finish. 'Cause I came here to win it. Will I be measured by the choices that I make? The clock is ticking, getting hard to see it straight. Do I just call them blind and leave it behind? And is that just what it takes? I can feel the pressure, keep myself together, pushing through the pain while I'm in it. 'Cause I came here to win it. I'm praying, hoping I don't break when I can see the lights at the finish. 'Cause I came here to win it. Move a little closer, move a little closer now. All my cards are down and I should take my final bow. Move a little closer, move a little closer now. All my cards are down. I can feel the pressure, keep myself together, pushing through the pain while I'm in it. 'Cause I came here to win it. I'm praying, hoping I don't break when I can see the lights at the finish. 'Cause I came here to win it.
Definitely not silence.
Come on, man. You know me. Silence isn't my bag.
You'd make a terrible co-host if it were.
What do you bring to the table? Well, I don't talk much. Good. Join my podcast.
Well, you're challenging the notion of what podcasters sound like.
Yeah. Let that one cook your noodle for a minute, huh? Speaking of cooking noodles, I got something for you.
Let's go.
You know what time it is?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for another Scott's Shots.
I really need to stretch today. Big stretches.
Got to work on your shadow boxing and your footwork.
I got to hang a heavy bag for next time, man. I really got to wail on
Left jab, haymaker. Left jab, haymaker.
Uppercut.
Uppercut.
All right.
It's a lost art, the uppercut. All right, Scott. Was digging around and I was in the mood for some absurdities because this has been a week, the election week, of just absolute absurdities. So, I'm not sure where to start. There's so much material to pull from. I'm just going to cherry pick some things. During the COVID years, as we'll call them, because really it did last from about March 2020 to about fall of 21 or even spring of 22, depending on where you were. All kinds of crazy shit happened to people, courtesy of their governments, different things that were banned and mandated and you couldn't do, and all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm just going to read off a couple of them and let you fill in the blanks. Okay. In Brighton, Colorado, we'll start here. A middle-aged man was arrested for doing what with his 6-year-old daughter in the park?
I want to say like playing basketball because they like removed the nets from the hoops. So maybe he like tried to put up a hoop and play basketball. That doesn't quite.
All right, I'm going to give it to you.
Really?
Like wrong sport. Yeah, well, I don't have a NCAACP judge on my panel. My panels are fair. They're fair and balanced, like Fox News used to be 20 years ago. A Brighton man a man in Brighton, Colorado, was arrested for playing catch with his 6-year-old daughter on a nearby empty softball field.
Monster.
So close enough. Wrong, right answer, wrong sport.
Think of how many grandmas died.
But then the sub question to that would be, how many grandmas died alone and isolated? I don't have that answer yet, but I can look that up for next time. In Encinitas, California, police cited 22 people for doing what on the beach?
Surfing.
On the beach? You don't know
well,
how to surf, do you?
at the beach. Well, I remember them citing surfers, so I guess it wasn't that particular story. What would they be doing on the beach?
They did do that.
I know they're not camping or because you can't do that on the beach anyway. They were playing volleyball.
If you like sand everywhere, you can. And wrong. Shoot, I keep forgetting to get my buzzer. Thank you. You've got the buzzer. I need a buzzer. No, they cited 22 people for watching the sunset and having picnics near the beach. Violations carried fines of $1,000 and up to 6 months in jail.
So hilarious.
Some of those people did go to jail.
Sure. Well, you're trespassing on the king's lands.
The king's lands. That's right. Don't forget that even the animals you take from National Forest are still the king's deer, and they do make you pay for it. They exact a price.
I'm your king. Well, I didn't vote for you.
Doesn't matter. Pay up, sucker. In Vermont, Governor Phil Scott announced that no one could get together with anyone. Ever. And even banned doing this outside. I know it's kind of broad.
Yeah, it's super broad.
I know that's a tough one. I was trying to figure out how to narrow that one down.
Doing this outside, I mean,
I'll give you furthermore, because you don't know what your neighbor has done. It was his reasoning.
So it wouldn't be like walking your dog or mowing your lawn. Oh, it is walking your dog?
I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to walk with another person.
Walking, yeah, you can't walk.
Dog be damned. Dog, no dog, doesn't matter. As long as there's a person there, you are violating the executive order. I think my favorite one comes out of Michigan, at least from this list. It comes out of Michigan. Well, I don't even know. I'm trying to figure out how to do this without giving it all away. These things were banned on the water.
Oh, yeah. This is a wretched Hitler out of Michigan.
Yes.
And pretty sure you couldn't sail or otherwise boat.
I'm going to give it to you again, kind of. It's a half bell. Motorboats, jet skis, and other watercraft. So basically anything that took gas, you notice this? Anything with an engine was banned.
An engine.
Because
so
of
you
course
so you
it fits
could sail?
The use of kayaks, canoes, and sailboats were allowed.
Sure. That all, I mean, it tracks perfectly. I don't know, why are you laughing?
Because COVID can't get you if there's no motor involved.
Right. It's internal combustion. That's the grandma killer. Don't you watch the news?
How did you know? Science. Yep. Oh, man, there's so many more, but that's enough for today.
That's all right. We'll call it a day there. Yeah. Yep. The more you, when you do this sort of stuff and you're like, oh, let me go back and pull some, you just get hit over the head with absurdity after absurdity.
No. One more. I got to do one more because this is also out of Michigan from Wretched Hitler. Is what kind of home were you not allowed to travel to and fro?
Was it like second homes, like vacation homes?
Oh, you're good. He's good.
Damn, but as I recall,
residents were prohibited from traveling to and from a second home or a vacation rental. So your first home, totally cool. COVID can't get you. Your second home, you're fucked.
Yeah, but there's
you're dead.
I seem to recall there being a story of Wretched Hitler's husband going to their lake house or something.
Yes.
You know, much like Gavin Newsom went to the French laundry that he had closed. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like every single state, or they all had their own version of this where the leaders were openly ignoring their own baloney. And yet half of our fellow citizens still have concluded that what happened made sense. And then no matter how many of these different absurdities you bring up, they cannot be shaken from the conclusion that what happened made sense.
Furthermore, without these people in charge of us, society would collapse.
What would we?
It would just be anarchy.
Yeah. So you love potholes. Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would all eat each other if these people weren't in charge of us. Yeah. That's a fact, Jack. It's so funny too to watch how many of these were so politically motivated. You know, in Michigan, you've got like, okay, if it has an engine, it's banned and you'll get COVID. But if it's powered by the wind or the sun, totally cool. You can go on the lake with it. And Idaho had its own version. Idaho had its own version of it too. All bars were shut down first. The very first thing to get shut down were bars. And the last thing to be allowed to open up, because Idaho did it in like 4 or 5 phases. Guess what the last thing to open up was? But you can guess. Was it bars? Well, yes. Yes, Scott, it was. It was taverns / bars. But you know what got to stay open? State liquor stores.
Yeah, well, that's because they're essential services.
Because COVID apparently can't get you if you buy liquor by the bottle, but it will kill your ass if you buy liquor by the drink.
Yeah, I have
Yay, government.
Oh,
but we need them.
The state.
Oh, here's one more. I'm just because there was no way to phrase this as a question that you could ever answer as a fill in the blank. But in New York, several of the, as they call them, villages like Croton-on-Hudson and what was the other one? I forget the name, some gay French name too. They banned leaf blowers. Leaf blowers were banned on the reasoning that blowing dust into the air creates a hazmat situation. Unless they're electric, then maybe it's okay.
Oh, yeah, it's internal combustion. That's the problem. Weren't you paying attention to your own game?
That's the problem.
Yeah. The roads thing is perfect. I'm pretty sure it's this clip that has just a gem of a roads.
And why should people care so much about those races, Dr. Witt?
Well, I think
this is the same lady that she was on multiple different mainstream shows. This is BSU professor BSU professor Stephanie Witt. She's not an MD. It's just one of those PhD things, I'm pretty sure. Professor Stephanie Witt.
People care so much about those races, Dr. Witt.
Well, I think we spend
smugly.
a lot of time thinking about the national level, but the people who are going to make decisions that impact your everyday are the legislators and your, of course, local officials that we do on the odd years, right? So the things that are really going to impact your pocketbook and whether the road is paved and whether the potholes are filled, all that happens.
She came up with 2 examples on the fly, and it was the roads and the roads.
The roads.
The roads and the roads is all she can come up with.
Yep, it's the classic statist trope among libertarian circles. One of our favorite things. That's one of our phrases is "mo roads."
Mo roads.
That's it. That's the phrase.
But you're hearing it.
We hear that over and over and over again. And we a statist is losing the argument when they take the roads and go home.
I just loved this, where this isn't even, and in this case, it's not even an argument. It's a friendly interviewer, and the stream of consciousness, when she's attempting to come up with examples, she can only come up with the roads and the roads.
The things that are really going to impact your pocketbook
and mate.
And whether the road is paved, and whether the potholes are filled, and all that.
But without the government, with their boots on our necks, we wouldn't have more roads.
The roads or the roads.
You fools. Check and mate. Your argument is invalid. As if we don't elect these people who don't build the roads to do the things that hurt us and they don't build the roads, then how will we get the roads? Which is always, it makes me think of the scene from The Office Space.
What would you say you do here?
Because there's a great comic I've got that was a meme using that scene where they go, so government builds the roads? Well, no, not actually. We don't actually build the roads. It's like, okay, well, so does government pay for the roads? And it's like, well, no, not actually. See, we steal the money from taxpayers first to then pay for the roads. It's like, okay, so you don't pay for the roads, we do. You don't build the roads, that's private contractors. What would you say it is you do here? And then they're like, and then it's like, look, I'm here for the goddamn customers. People are not good at dealing with corporations, so I, as the government, have to get involved.
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that?
Whether the road is
the taxpayers don't know how to spend their money without me.
Whether the road is paved and whether the potholes are filled and all that happens.
I love
roads
it so much.
And
the roads. And the roads.
Yep. Dude, it's so good. I couldn't write it any better myself.
I'm telling you.
As a libertarian, this is welcome. Like, this is what you're going to hear for the rest of your life if you are a libertarian. It's just, that's all people can conjure up, and it's not creative. It's not clever. It's not fun. It doesn't even win the argument. They think it does. I'm too stupid and uncreative to think of any other way to get anything done other than stealing somebody's money and making a bureaucratic state take care of it. Check and mate, you dumb libertarians.
Well, here's a bureaucratic state in action as far as how it is discretionarily spending those funds that it takes forcibly confiscates from the citizenry. And in point of fact, it's actually an Ask Paul.
Here comes the question. Big or small, make your guess before we call. The game begins. It's Ask Paul.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Boise Mayor Lauren McLean's former chief of staff, Courtney Washburn, got a sizable severance package as she departed the city, more than double the standard calculation listed in city policy, according to public records obtained by Boise Dev. The severance, issued at the discretion of the mayor's office, is typically only required when the city dismisses an employee for reasons not related to misconduct or non-performance, according to policy. Washburn had served the mayor for 6 years and was paid a severance of...
How much?
It must be nice being a government employee, where in the private sector, if you suck at your job, you just get fired. In the government, if you suck at your job, you get rewarded and a vacation. I bet you, well, if it's double, and usually what they do is give you like a year's worth of pay or more and all that kind of stuff. I bet you we're talking $250,000.
I'll give it to you. You're close because it includes the, well, you'll hear.
It was paid a severance of more than $112,000, according to Boise Dev. That's in addition to more than $85,000 in accrued leave and benefits as she left the city.
So you're at a little over $200K.
That counts.
Yes, it does.
That's in addition to more than $85,000 in accrued leave and benefits as she left the city. The city's standard severance calculation.
So she got paid for not working. Then she got paid for being fired and not working.
The city's standard severance calculation suggests a payment of less than $50,000, according to Boise Dev, which also reports Washburn's predecessor as chief of staff, Jade Riley, also received a nearly six-figure severance package after departing the city voluntarily. Riley took a job with the city of Ketchum. City spokesperson Maria Wigg told Boise Dev severance is paid out of the mayor's budget, but did not offer further details. Washburn did not respond to a request for comment.
Dad, what radicalized you? Well, son, this stuff radicalized me. And people defending it radicalized me.
That's the thing. And if you like, object or if you raise your hand and be like, "Hey, this seems egregious," you just run into well, what about the roads, the potholes in the roads?
Yeah, we're over here going, hey, can we just have less government, fewer regulations, and less taxes? And the people who are literally doing it to us are like, hello, peasants.
They also, take to the microphones to lecture us about how if it weren't for them, we'd all be prostitutes and mercenaries and drug dealers.
Without that severance package, we would have potholes and no roads. We'd have potholes in the no roads.
The no roads is in the running for show title. The no roads. Okay, let's move along here to.
Ooh. And then if you're going to do that, then a picture of a road, but with painted handprints that are small.
Can we somehow incorporate John Cage's 433 into, like, there's just no road? Like, what I want you to do is reimagine what a road is.
So brave.
All right, here is a little follow-up on the, what is it? The We Hate Trans Bathrooms, or however the mainstream presents the law, the trans, you can't.
Oh, the trans genocide bill.
Yes, that one, the suiciding of transes. Yep.
A lawsuit challenging
Yeah, what was trans ban 3.0?
Trans bans.
A lawsuit challenging Idaho's anti-trans school bathroom bill has.
There it is. Anti-trans school bathroom bill. It's actually
Anti-trans. It's more like pro-kids, I think, is what we're doing here. Same thing as being anti-abortion. I'm pro-kids is what I am. I just don't want you to slaughter children. And I also, when they're alive and they've made it past your slaughtering, somehow they've escaped you, then I don't want you to put wieners in their faces. I know, more radical. What radicalized you in the early 2020s, Dad? Well, son, all of this.
This is a perfect opportunity to reiterate Blair White, who is a man who became a woman, so she'd be considered like a trans woman, who does not agree with NPR editorializing in their delivery of news by saying stuff like
a lawsuit challenging Idaho's anti-trans school bathroom bill.
And Idaho's anti-trans school bathroom bill. So that is what goes for news delivery on your national treasure. Anti-trans, which is of course propagandistic editorializing. Here is Blair White, who's an actual trans woman.
Yeah, we actually have a term for that, a term that people used to use, and they used to know what it was. It's called yellow journalism, and it abounds.
This is why I say that trans activists are actually the enemy of real trans people, because their goals are antithetical. Real trans people have the goal of integration into society, of respecting women, of respecting spaces. Trans activists have domination as their goal.
And NPR goes to bat on behalf of the trans activist sect, which doesn't have anything to do with trans because it's a political ideology. And just because you're, quote, trans doesn't mean you agree or disagree with an ideology. Ideology is separate from whatever makes somebody trans. Here is another clip to illustrate that from Blair White.
If you're supporting this man in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym, I just want to let you know you are not supporting trans people or trans rights. You are supporting perverts and perverts' rights. I just think it's important that you know what you're actually doing. Sincerely, from a trans woman. Thank you. Bye.
So NPR, who thinks they are going to bat on behalf of trans people, even though the person you're hearing on the clip is just some asshole newsreader, they don't know what the hell they think. But the management, the higher ups, I don't even know whatever the string puller said is the tiny percentage of people who integrate this sort of language deliberately. They are not pro-trans or anti-trans. They're pro-Maoist and like societal
social Marxism.
Yeah, it's exactly
cultural Marxism
via demoralization. But they're not speaking on behalf of trans. Don't be fooled by their propaganda.
Trans school bathroom bill has been dropped. Julie Lucchetta has more.
Shortly after the law went into effect.
If I was in charge of the anti-trans side of things, I think I would make it a campaign and call it Trans Cans. You could do so much with that.
Shortly after,
I have a few jokes that come to mind, but
maybe really cozy up to Senator or Representative Handy and be like trans hands cans. We could work with that. There's a lot there. See, I'm telling you,
hire Paul.
You got a political campaign. Hire Paul. I'll work for any side. Just pay me enough money, and I will do a great job for you, even if I think you're evil and retarded. And then I'll turn around and I'll spend the money. If you're evil and retarded, I'll spend it on the campaign against you.
This episode number 30 of No ID is brought to you by Paul Banducci's Publicist Services. I'll work for any side.
Shortly after the law went into effect in 2023, a Boise High student and the school's Sexuality and Gender Alliance Club sued the state, saying it violated the Equal Protection Clause, Title IX, and the right to privacy. Under the law, students are prohibited from using restrooms that do not align with their birth sex, and schools must provide
that organization existing violates human decency.
And schools must provide alternative single occupancy facilities. The plaintiffs argued it discriminated against trans students by singling them out. The plaintiffs voluntarily dismissed the case on Wednesday, and the lawsuit was dropped without prejudice. In their court filing, attorneys for the plaintiffs said one of the students graduated this week.
Get ready for the emotional blackmail. Ready?
And the other, a member of the Sexuality and Gender Alliance Club, passed away. Idaho Ed News reports the student died by suicide. The law allows students.
This is what they have. This is their tactic too, where they're like, would you rather have, where they're trying to pressure parents into mutilating the kids, where they're like, would you rather have a dead daughter or a living son? So in other words, they're going to kill themselves unless you bow down to the restructuring that we wish to impose on everybody. If you don't bow down to it.
They leave out the part where this 30 to 40% of successfully transitioned people kill themselves. So I'm going to sound super brutal here, but when I listened to this headline about that, all I could think of, the meme I thought of in my head was laughs in FBI statistics.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay. It's so sick. I don't even want to go into it. Here's the rest of the clip.
The law allows students to sue schools for each instance of encountering a person of the opposite sex in a public school restroom, changing facility, or sleeping quarters for a minimum fine of $5,000. In a press release, Attorney General Raul Labrador said, quote, Idaho families can be confident that this law is fully in effect and will remain so. Julie,
but there will be another lawsuit. It's only a matter of, minutes. Take that, taxpayer. Again, we come back to the fact that who looks at the system as a whole, statism as we know it, and just goes, this is perfectly fine. This is cool. I'm happy to pay for this because roads.
And potholes and roads.
And schools that are... where the people who work in and around the schools actually want this shit for your kid. The only reason it hasn't been implemented is because higher ups have blocked it. But make no mistake, the people who work in and at the public schools, they're very much for letting men tinkle with girls and vice versa. All the more reason to pull your kids out, homeschool your kids. It's madness. Plus, if you homeschool your kids, there is probably a 100% chance that they will not be suffering a lifetime bothering of potholes. Potholes just don't bother you the same when you're homeschooled. You just don't care as much.
Couple more quick ones to close out the week here after the most important primaries of everyone's lifetime. Until the next ones, here is...
Which we haven't even talked about locally yet.
No, we haven't. Here is one local, though. Here is one of the levies from Kootenai County.
And now moving to the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Levy. This is a 2-year temporary override. It was proposed after the last levy attempt failed last year.
Taking a look at the latest results now in the early returns, it appears there is hope this time around, with about 62% of voters saying yes. The levy
that it will fail?
50% to pass.
And if approved, this would fund fire and rescue services amid growing demand. That levy is designed to address inflation as well as population growth and staffing needs. Property owners would
So breaking down your mainstream media, there it is again, Scott. Like when they talk about hope, they're hopeful it will pass. They have their agenda they want. There is hope that this thing that we like, in which we spend more money, we spend more of your money, there's hope that it will pass. Instead of, like, for me, it would be, there's hope. It will fail.
And if it does fail, we'll structure it. We will add an umlaut over a random U in the bill's language, and then just put it back in front of you. And maybe you'll vote correctly this time.
As well as population growth and staffing
and blame
needs.
the far right.
Property owners would
far
pay
right
$37.
voter base that rose up and killed the levy.
Property owners would pay $37.77 per year for every $100,000 of assessed property value.
Fire Chief Pete Hawley says
they always do that.
Yes, they do.
The median home price in Idaho is $500,000. 37 times 5 is $185. That's $185 more a year. That's not nothing. And then you do that with 30, 40, 50 other things, all the fees we pay, all the taxes we pay, all the different fucking things we pay. And it multiply, what's 185 times 10 times 20 times 30? Dude, it's real money. And if you make 50, 60 grand a year, that's real money, man.
Because you don't really make 50 or 60, you make like 38 and change because they take so much of it off the top.
Things that bake the noodle.
Property owners would pay $37.77 per year for every $100,000 of assessed property value.
Fire Chief Pete Hawley says that some residents may not realize how much the district does beyond emergency response. Fire District will meet later today to discuss next steps.
Do they fill potholes?
Results continue to come in.
What would you say you do here?
Please tell me they also fill potholes, that we're getting like a 2-for-1 on this particular service.
Usually you pay double for that kind of action, Cotton.
So you like potholes, is that it?
I love them so much. I love potholes as much as I hate America.
Last one for this week, and it's speaking of mainstream media.
Idaho statesmen journalists are struggling, and our corporate owners, McClatchy Media, do not care.
This is a strike. They're on the streets. I don't know if it's all or what percentage of the Idaho Statesman staff are full strike, picket signs, and they're marching around. Cars are going by and honking, and they're interviewing, I don't know, the lead guy or whatever. He's speaking into the mic while the rest of the strikers are behind him. This is the Idaho Statesman staff.
Idaho statesmen journalists are struggling, and our corporate owners, McClatchy Media, do not care. That's why we're here today, and we're on strike. We've tried to tell the company about 30% rent increases. We've tried to tell the company that employees are delaying health needs, marriage, holiday, and family trips. We've tried to tell them that reporters need to pick up second jobs just to get by. Despite all this, McClatchy continues to reject our very modest demands, which are wages should keep up with inflation and that ethics and standards apply to AI too. Our out-of-state leaders are not even bothering to attend our bargaining sessions. Instead, they're too busy buying up AI. They're too busy buying up air-riddled AI technology and celebrity tabloids, all while telling us that living wages are not a part of company strategy. McClatchy seems to care more about investing in AI than its own human reporters, the ones who have spent years building relationships, trust, and expertise. We are here today fighting not just for ourselves. We are fighting for this community. Every year, Idaho and our sisters papers lose some of their most talented journalists who find new jobs just to stay afloat. Those who stay, those fighters who hold power to account and bring vital information to our neighbors, find themselves growing older with little savings or safety nets.
Who will do the yellow journalism if AI takes over?
Idaho Statesman dates back to 1864, before our state was even founded. We refused to let a New Jersey hedge fund come into our state and destroy it.
We, the people, the communist statesman reporters of a communist sponsored and run paper, have come out against our communist owners, our communist corporate owners, who put profit before people at a paper that puts politics before profit. This is wrong, and we will not stand for anything less than exactly the thing we want, which can't be done in reality because it doesn't exist, but we will fight for it anyways. Leftists against leftists unite. Comrade.
You know, there's something immoral.
That is the best.
There's something immoral about
Just the best.
Schadenfreude, just straight up pleasure at another suffering. But I have to admit, I'm feeling a twinge of it.
I love it. No, I love it. I am grinning from ear to ear right now. I couldn't help it. This might be the best headline of like the last 3 weeks.
I saved the best for last.
It's
apparently.
beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that good?
Yes, you did. The Statesman is the worst rag probably in the entire state. It is the epitome of yellow journalism. This is the best. I love it. And we didn't even talk about. You're all right. Next time.
What?
We got to talk about the local primaries. The local North Idaho. We didn't even talk about it once.
Oh, let's stop. Okay, go. Let's do it, and then we'll just we're on our own schedule, man. You know, we're not at the. We're not beholden to our commie owner overlords, man. We can just continue the show if we want.
I don't know. I kind of feel like striking, Scott, against my Jewish boss of the podcast.
Who's
here.
not paying you a living wage? Wow, what a shock.
My rent, my roads.
I have to get
my potholes.
I got to get another job to make ends meet, man. This is ridiculous.
This
By the way, you know,
will not stand.
If you need a line of credit to help you pay for, you know, to bridge the gap so you can live I know guys.
Yeah, you do. I'm sure you do. Oh, that'll be a cold day in hell, Scott, when a WAP gets a loan from a Jew. I don't think so, sir. I know better.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any prepared material or off the cuff material for the
I was just going to give a quick rundown.
Yeah.
Say in South Idaho, actual conservatives did get whomped on pretty decently in the primaries, but in North Idaho, they ran a clean slate. They won across the board, and in District 1, where I'm in, District 1 represents Bonner County and Boundary County, so north of Kootenai County. Clean sweep, baby. Boom. Now, do I agree with everything for any of them? No, not at all. I probably disagree with 40% at least, but they are actual true conservatives who won the primaries across the board in District 1. I'm so stoked. Jane Souter took down Mark Souter. Cornell Razor, the incumbent there, still beat out Chuck Lohman, so that was good. And Cornell's he's a cool dude. He's well-spoken, and I'm very fond of that guy, actually, as a person. Scott Herndon took out.
Yes, he sure did.
Woodward.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Jim Woodward, which was a huge, huge win for the Senate of Idaho. Dude, good stuff. So we don't get a lot of representation out of District 1, but for the first time, I think since I've been alive, District 1 has all three state legislators, 2 reps and 1 senator, are actual card-carrying conservatives. Very exciting.
And it's
I mean, it comes with its own issues, because of course they're going to be super, and a lot of the more social stuff that I tend to be like, just leave each other alone on. They're going to probably hammer home more than I want them to, but economically, it's a good thing.
And it makes sense that there wasn't really hardly any mainstream coverage of that because
correct. They didn't talk about it.
Results like that leave the mainstream without hope.
Well, up in the North Idaho, and it also further highlights the ever widening gap between North and South Idaho. They are 2 different states. One of the things I'm looking forward to the most, and I think at some point it's got to happen. Wow, I think Lucas is excited about it too. Sorry,
yeah, he is.
Hold on.
He's filled with hope.
Is a secession. I think it's got to happen. Then the same way that North Dakota and South Dakota are 2 different states, why the hell can't Idaho be North Idaho and South Idaho like they are now? Just draw the damn line and get it over with. Probably make Coeur d'Alene the capital, which would suck in its own ways. But I digress. So District 1 had a good showing. The precinct committee in District 1, I think, had an okay showing. But the real story and the really interesting one is Kootenai County. And that's actually why I played the song I played, All the Cards Are Down, because it felt like, there's still some fight left in the conservatives, but they got bloodied pretty good. And even at the legislative level, again, clean sweep. Districts 2, 3, 4, and 5, all stalwart, solid conservatives across the board. And a couple of the establishmentarian candidates that went up against them got absolutely murdered, crushed. But where the real sauce is made is the precinct committees. And Kootenai County's precinct committee, which for about 12 years now has swung very decidedly actual conservative, is now a dead nuts even split, 37 and 37. North Idaho Republicans, those carpetbaggers that they are, charlatans, they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. They picked up a few more seats, I think 10 more seats. It was kind of ugly. And it's a dead nut split. 37 on the one side, 37 on the conservative side. And then there are 4 precinct committee spots that were filled by people who were sponsored by neither. So it gets really spicy now. The next 2 years, every single thing, everything, procedural, candidate-wise, rating and vetting wise, where the money is spent, how it's made, fundraisers, who gets to come to the fundraiser, everything is going to come down to 1 or 2 votes and which way the 4 quote unquote independents happen to swing that day and who shows up. Because apparently one of the other issues is if precinct members don't show up sometimes. And if they don't set others up with proxies, all of a sudden you've got 5 or 6 or 7 people who haven't voted and, emotion still carries the day. So the fight is on. Conservatives are down, but they're not out. but one more election cycle like this in 2 years where they give up any more seats to the NIR, and it will be over for 2 decades before they can take it back. Because then the NIR will have their own organization, the North Idaho Republicans, charlatans and carpetbaggers with hundreds of thousands of dollars at their disposal, and they will have the official Republican brand behind them.
Yes, because they're traditional conservatives juxtaposed against the far, far, far right.
Of course, the far, far, far right. So I just felt it necessary to kind of give the breakdown of how that all went in North Idaho.
Yep, I was remiss that I did not do that.
There will be, the good news for us, Scott, is I think it's going to provide, if we stay on top of it. Now, I don't know about audio, but I'm pretty sure there is audio at these meetings. I know they're recorded. Whether or not we can get our hands on them is another matter. I may have to talk to a couple of insiders. I do happen to know, I probably know half the people who are on who's on the Kootenai County Committee, and I'm enemies with about half of that half, and I'm friends with about half of that half.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can find my way into some audio. They're going to give us 2 years of nonstop material, man. And the press actually will help us out with that too. The press is going to cover it, and they're going to swing towards the NIR the whole way. So whatever the press says, we'll know is a lie, and we can just go off of that.
That would be awesome if you could figure that. Yeah, the boots on the ground it's coming from inside the house.
Yeah, it's gonna. Some of it definitely will. So we're gonna have a lot to watch the next 2 years. It is gonna be spicy.
I can't wait. I love it when these outside sources just write our show for us. You know, with their "I am the mayor" and the roads, the potholes in the roads.
He lost. He lost his precinct committeeman race, by the way.
Yes, he did.
Dan Gookin.
I am tired of this shit.
Love it.
Well, it's too bad.
We were too. So were the voters, Dan Gookin. Get bent.
Why are you pissing on me?
Oh my God, I have a check on that too. Damn it. 2 weeks in a row I've screwed that up. God.
Well, we actually screwed it up twice just today. Don't worry about it, Scott. I forgive you.
I demand perfection.
But I might go on strike.
Okay, so speaking of that, if you want to hear some real-time deconstruction, but more just like exposure, like here's who the Idaho Statesman truly is. Check out episode 19 of this very program, your No ID show. It is entitled Jansport Inferno, and you can hear a detailed breakdown of the editorial board and what they put out, and you can hear like what we're like, it's kind of funny, it's tongue in cheek. We're playing the Soviet national anthem while we're talking about the staff of the Idaho Statesman. Go hear it for yourself, man. It feels like we're overstating the case, but we're not.
As always, people tell the truth if you really listen.
So true. Well, please remember us at noidshow.com. Remember that this program runs on the value for value model. Time, talent, and treasure. As the producers that you are, we ask that if you find our program valuable, you produce time, talent, and treasure and return value to our show. And thank you very much to this week's executive producers and to everybody who participates in our model.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Anonymous.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting couple of years, and we will, at least for part of it, next week for sure, on episode number 31, we'll be here for the ride. Until next week, from Post Falls, I'm Scott.
And from Clark Fork, I'm Paul. Taxation is theft.
Oh, I'm shocked.